It's something we all aspire to, I suppose, in one way or another. I spoke earlier with Jules Wyman. Jules is a confidence and life coach. Now, that's quite an optimistic title to have, isn't it? I began by asking her when we spoke, well, given she's a confidence and life coach, could you make me happy?
Well, you've just hit the nail on the head. You're asking me to make you happy, and I don't think that that's possible. I think actually what it's about is you making the decision for you to be happy. And what I can do is show you ways of you being able to do that for yourself, but I can't make you happy. It's all about you making that choice and putting your mind to that and focusing on being happy.
So presumably the changes that need to be made are different for different people, are they?
Yeah, and that's why I don't think there's a simple answer. I'd love to say, here's my magic wand and off we go, but
a lot of people would be pleased if you could.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's not about that, and I think it's about understanding. I have conversations with clients who, some of them are already of the mindset that they want to be more happy, so it's how they can expand what they're already doing that's working. And for other clients, I have had conversations with people who have experienced depression and other aspects of mental challenges, and I think that it's a different conversation, but I still think there are possibilities wherever you're starting from, but it is about the person making the effort for themselves.
And presumably your definition of happiness might be different to mine, to one of your clients, to somebody we meet in the street. Somebody might define themselves as happy if they've got £1 million in the bank.
And I think that's the key with it as well is that when we're given these informations and these surveys being done, whether it's about success or happiness or love, actually stop it and ask yourself, well, what does that mean to me? What am I looking for? Because for some people, a happy Christmas, for example, is about being surrounded by family and having a great meal and really enjoying that. For other people, actually, they're not that kind of person, and they'd much rather be on their own, spending some time reading. And it doesn't make one of them right or wrong, but it is about understanding what happiness really means for you.
Can you lump together then people of a similar nationality and say Fijians are happier than people who live in Iraq, but Belgians are happier than the French? Are there personality traits within a country that might make people happier?
I think there's cultural circumstances that make things different, and I think that we've been brought up, the majority of us in the UK, with the whole stiff upper lip, just get on with it kind of side of things. And in my experience, I thought that just meant that we were like that, and therefore we kind of repressed everything and we didn't talk about our emotions. But actually, with the travelling that I've done, it's very different. And I've just spent the summer in the States, for example, and we kind of have the illusion that Americans are happy-go-lucky kind of people, and you know what, they're not. They're, yes, there are some that are, but actually they have similar circumstances and similar things that they want to improve and develop. They just look at it because they're coming from a different cultural base. Their experience is very different, so that's why I don't think there's a global answer. I don't think there's a one fixed answer. It is about having a conversation with somebody to actually get to the root of what happiness means for you.
Only 4% of the world's population would like to live in the UK. I don't know whether that says about us. Maybe they think we're quite a dour bunch here and miserable. I've no idea.
I think that's maybe more to do with the weather, actually.
Well, you see, they do say, don't they, that sunshine releases, I don't know, is it serotonin in the body or something, and you have a more upbeat and outgoing personality if you live in Italy or parts of France or Australia or New Zealand or Fiji. Whereas, when it's dour and grey and rains a lot, it's certainly going to affect your personality. And is that a happiness trait, do you think?
I actually think that's more to do with attitude, because if you look at actually a lot of the Scandinavian countries, they spend a lot of their time in the dark.
They do.
Because of the way that where the lands lie. But actually, if you think of Iceland, for example, and how many musicians have come out of Iceland and are amazingly creative, and they talk about that time when they've got those shorter days, is actually when they go inward and really start to get creative for themselves. And I think that what we don't encourage ourselves enough to do in the UK is that when the weather goes a bit rubbish, is we actually internalise things and we shut down and we go indoors, when actually we need to get better clothing and get outside. I mean, it's a great day today. I mean, get outside.
we should embrace it more in the north of England.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you make that cultural shift within a country? Could you be happier in the north or the south of England, for example? I know I'm bringing up the old north-south divide, but people have a perception of the north and the south and vice versa. Do you think we think they're happier or vice versa?
again, I think there's different factors into that. And bearing in mind, you actually are asking a southerner that lives up north. So
you're speaking to a northerner who married a southerner who's moved up north, and he's extremely happy.
I wouldn't move back down south, if I'm honest, because I feel that living up north, I'm probably going to get hung, drawn and quartered for saying this.
Not in this office, you're not.
But for me, there is a different attitude up here, and I think that across the north, both. I mean, I live in the northeast, and obviously we're in the northwest. But I think there's a more relaxed attitude to life. There's a little bit more laid back. Whereas I think the further south east you tend to go, it tends to be a bit more tense and a bit more quick and high driven, and I don't think they're right or wrong, and I don't think that everybody. I personally lived in London for a while. It didn't work for me. I've got friends who absolutely love living in London, so again, it's subjective. I don't think you can put us in competition like that. I don't think that's fair.
Oh yes, you can. And you heard her. What did she say? I wouldn't go back to London again, or something. And there's a lass from the south, a confidence and life coach who, when pressed by me, prefers the north to the south. We certainly do have a different attitude to life up here, I think, and it is conducive, I think, to being a little happier. I would say that, though, wouldn't I?
BBC Radio